Hello, 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 everybody. And hello to everybody who's online. It's so great to have you guys with us today. I'm Shelly Lemons. If you don't know, I'm the Director of Strategic Student Success, and this is our second Becoming story in our series for this week for Black Excellence. And I'm so excited to have Torrence Sorrell here with us today. Um, um, we've got a couple announcements that we want to go through this morning. And so the first should be one back. There we go. So if you can complete any surveys, we've got surveys at the end of every single B scene. So we want to hear your feedback and understand what's working, what's not working, how we can make things better, topics that you want to learn about that maybe we haven't discussed yet. Please complete those surveys so that we know how to make this a better experience for you. Also, we've got Travis sent out a survey to everyone yesterday, and that survey is about our celebration event at the end of the term. We need to know as soon as possible what the best dates and times would be for you to attend that kind of event, because we want as many of you in the community to come out. It's going to be a fantastic 3 to 4 course meal that will be in honor of you as our Black scholars who've been participating this term in Black Excellence, and we really want to celebrate you. We're working on even getting some pins to do a pinning ceremony and scholarships to give to students. So it'll be a wonderful thing. We need you guys to let us know when the best date is to have that. And then the third announcement is that we also need to hear from you about what you think about a Black center and about a Black space and a Black experience here at National Louis University. So next week's event, I'm going to be pulling students in groups of 5 out from the session that Travis is leading. Students who do participate in the survey session with me will be getting a $60 honorarium that then gets applied to your student account, so you can put it towards a balance, or if you want to use it at the NLU bookstore, it can be used for any of those things. So just so you know, those are things that are happening next week. And coming up next week, Travis is going to be talking about leadership and what it means to be a successful leader as a Black individual. So we're excited about that. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce you all to the most amazing coach that we have here at National Louis University. Don't tell the other coaches I just said that. But we have Torrence Sorrell with us, and he is a coach here at National Louis, doing an amazing job supporting students. He's also leading the students to get students to share their voice and to speak their voice through the Student Advisory Council. He's the lead for that. He does his own entrepreneur business on the side. How did he get so amazing? He's going to tell you in just a moment. So can you all welcome for me, Torrence Sorrell?
So I can move around, right? Okay, cool. Feel like I'm at the Laugh Factory. Y'all good? Oh, you on this side? They called it? Okay. All right, cool. Zoom folks, y'all good? How y'all feeling on Zoom? Good. Zoom folks good in person? How y'all feeling? Okay, good. I know some folks still trickling around, going to go eat right now. So grab y'all some grub, kick back, relax, and hear the story I got going for y'all. So thank you, Shelly, for the introduction. As I was putting this together today, I struggled putting together this PowerPoint because, I think one of the hardest questions in like any type of like job interview is tell me about yourself. Like that's one of the hardest questions because you have to really take it back. And it was the same type of vibe I had when I was putting together this PowerPoint, because this is 31 years of my life to put in a few slides, and I felt like I could have just went on and on, but I tried to keep it as brief as possible within this hour time frame. But also it felt like a therapy session because it allowed me to go back to places in my life that was joyful, but also ones that was extremely dark, in my life. So being able to share the story with you all today, hopefully I'm able to inspire anyone in here. My goal is to try to inspire everybody, but even if it's 1 or 2, that's fine too, whether it's in person or Zoom. But let's just have a good time today. I know the first one with Dr. Keisha was amazing. I had the opportunity to watch that one on Zoom before I got started to really get the wheels turning on how I want to do mine. So he set that bar extremely high. So I just want to at least get an ounce of what that was, and then we'll just rock and roll to get this started. So without further ado, just working. Oh, not clicking on anything. This way. Okay, cool. All right. So the name of my presentation is called A Tale of Two Stories. I chose that title because I like that. Thank you. I chose that title because you're going to learn about a young man from the west side of Chicago who overcame a lot of adversity, but also someone who had to redefine themselves in so many different ways. And so as I tell my story, you're going to learn what some of those ways consist of and how you bounce back from just extraordinary circumstances. All right. So, where my people from? I'm a Chicagoan at heart. Okay, Inglewood in the building. Okay, okay. Okay. I feel like I'm a DJ at a club right now. Where everybody from? East Side in the building. Okay, we got South Side in the building. All right, shout out South Side. Okay, we got on South Side in the chat. Shout out Dr. Keisha, South Side in the chat. As you can see from the left, I'm a West Side at heart. Shout out 290. Anybody from 290, shout out to y'all. But I got love for the South Side too. My wife is from the South Side. We joke and say that even though she's African American as well, we joke and say that we're in an interracial marriage because she's from the South Side and I'm from the West Side. So we had kids. We're gonna have our kids eat Uncle Remus and then eat Harold's. And then whatever they choose, hey, that's what they're gonna be from. That's how we're gonna do it. But I'm a West Side at heart. I was born, as you can see in the map. I can't click to the map. Shout out Scott. Originally raised on the South Side, currently live in Bensenville. Okay. Like I was born on the South Side. Now I'm living in the suburbs too. I'm living in Downers Grove now, so I can relate to that. Okay. So I grew up in the Austin neighborhood, as you can see. I don't have the mouse clicker, but as you can see, just look west. There you go. Shout out to the clicker. So I grew up in the Austin area, born in that area. I stayed close to, if any of you all know streets, I was close to like North Avenue and Central. So right off that bridge, close to like that AMC. I think it was an AMC out there. I don't think it was there at the time I was there. It was a minute ago when I was there, but it was close to the high school that I ended up going to, which you'll hear about in later slides. So grew up in the Austin area, right off Central and North Avenue. Spent some of my early childhoods there, a lot of good memories there. And then once things started to get a little bit more rougher, my parents decided to move us a little bit more north, but still west. And that's when we moved, as you can see on the map. I love this map because it gives a great visual. It just moves you a little bit up to Galewood. So Galewood, just a little bump north of where that's at. So Galewood is like around where like Reese Park is at, Brickyard Mall, in that area. That's where I spend majority of my youth at, in that area. So spend majority of my childhood there. And that's where I ended up going to my neighborhood grammar school, which was Stair. So ended up going to Sorrell Language Academy. That was the high school. That was the grammar school that I ended up going to. I put middle school, but I don't know if it's a Chicago thing. When you say grammar school, I say grammar school more in the middle school. I don't know if that's just me. But I went to grammar school at Sorrell Language Academy, walking distance from where I stayed. And my takeaway from my grammar school experience was community. We all grew up in the same area, blocks from each other. You know, I can just vividly remember in my mind walking to the stop sign by my house. And then all my friends met at a certain corner and we just walked to school together. Like, I almost feel like people don't even do that no more. Just that sense of community. We all walked together, made sure we were safe. A lot of guys, a lot of girls together. We was all together, making sure we were safe in that neighborhood, walking each other home. And it was a cool situation. A lot of my family members went to Sarah too that I ended up finding out. My father went there. All my brothers, my older brothers went there. Just so you know, I'm the youngest of two older brothers. I think my grandmother went there too, because I remember before she passed away, she was very big on my father moving us out of the west side to go to Sarah because that's where she went. So fun fact about you all that I ended up finding out not too long ago. So this was my grammar school experience. I just wanted to share a quick Throwback Thursday picture with you all today. I felt it was fitting. That was my third grade picture in the bottom. in the bottom middle, third grade photo. You remember they used to have to like move your neck when you had to take those photos and like, move your shoulder. It was one of those, as you can tell how I was positioned in that photo. But yeah, that was my grammar school experience. It was a really good experience. For me, I was trying to get a feel of what school was like. And what I mean by that was I wasn't the brightest student. I was an average C student. I used to talk a lot in class and get in trouble. Class clown. So yeah, I was one of those ones, as they say. I was one of those ones. And I remember that was back then when a report card was in a brown envelope, and then they used to give you all check marks. So I used to get all of those check marks for talking, and then I used to bring that home. My mama was blue. Why the hell you keep talking in all these classes, boy? I still remember her voice in my head, and I used to just always get them check marks for talking. But I wish, I kind of go back to that in the later slab, but like I didn't take school as seriously as I should. I was a class clown. I played basketball. I was just, I was in that age where you young, you trying to be popular, you playing basketball, you trying to look cool in front of the girls and all of that with my guys, and I mentally wasn't in the right place. So I got that reality check real quick going into this next slide. So face adversity. So adversity number one, you're going to see these bullets in several slides. So adversity number one, selective enrollment test. It came time for us to apply for high schools. I'm a trash test taker. For some of you students who feel that, I've been there. I still feel that way to today. I have my own thoughts on selective enrollment tests. Now I'm in education, but that's a story for another day. But I remember, and I want to walk you through this scene. This is me applying my journalism background. I remember applying for several high schools. I took that test. I applied for Walter Payton. I still remember Walter Payton. I think we had 4 or 5. I know it was Walter Payton. Lane Tech was actually my dream school. That's where I wanted to go. I went to a basketball camp at Lane Tech, so I really wanted to go there. And I don't know, it had the same colors as my grammar school, gold and green. I had some type of weird connection to Lane Tech, and it was a bigger school. I wanted a big school, high school experience like you see on those Disney shows with the Letterman jackets. I'm like, oh, I want that. I wanted that experience. So I applied for Lane, Walter Payton, I think Northside Prep, and Whitney Young for the hell of it. I knew for a fact I wasn't getting into Whitney, but I just wanted to do it just to have another school on there. So took the test, a lot of agony. Okay, I'm waiting for the test scores to come in. You waiting on that envelope to come in. You waiting. You're a little bit fidgety. Another fun fact: I wanted to go to OPRF too, but I didn't live in the area. Oak Park River Forest High School. That was another school I really wanted to go to, but I ain't had time to be lying on people's addresses and calling aunties and uncles. Hey, can I use your address? Because people was finessing the system. But for me, I'm like, nah, I didn't want to go through all of that. So I ended up applying to those 4 schools. Got that letter in the mail probably about maybe a month or so later. Open up that envelope. I'm fidgeting right now. Opening up the envelope. Right. Saw my test score on the right-hand side, and then saw in the middle the acceptance, and saw all 4 slots. Said first slot, not accepted. Second slot, not accepted. Third slot, not accepted. Fourth slot, not accepted. Ooh, that was a blow. It's a blow to everything. Blow to my ego, blow to my pride, blow to my intelligence. I felt insulted. I felt dumb, to be honest. To be frank with y'all, I felt dumb, felt stupid. And it just made me go back to grammar school and how I didn't take school seriously. The check marks I was getting, me trying to be funny and trying to impress people. And it went back to bite me in the tail in a way. I got a 616 to give you the actual hard number. And this is probably, I think it was out of 1,000 at the time, either 1,000 or 900, but it was a failed score. As you can see on this list, 800s, they require 800s, 900s at some of these schools. I couldn't even crack 7, barely 650. I was at 616. Didn't get accepted to any of those schools. I was dejected. I was hurt. I felt less than, so as a coach talking to some of you all about test taking and how you struggle in some of those quizzes, I can 100% relate. Imagine wanting to go to your dream school and you get 4 not acceptance letters. That's going to do something to your pride and ego. It almost make you don't want to go to school anymore. So it was a lot of soul searching during that time. As I mentioned, adversity number 1. Then I ended up applying to a few high schools. So I ended up going to Prosser High School. Prosser actually was my eighth choice, to be honest. I love Prosser, and we're going to talk about it on our next slide, but it wasn't initially my first choice. I also wanted to go, I got accepted to Prosser and Lakeview, but Lakeview was extremely far from where I stayed. And then what's another school? I know my mom didn't want me to go to Stuyvesant at the time. Stuyvesant was our neighborhood school, and I know my older brother went to Stuyvesant, but Stuyvesant was transitioning. It was getting real out there. There was a lot of activity out there. I would say a lot of activity, and my mom wasn't going for that. Like, yeah, you ain't going over there. But a lot of my friends went there who I played basketball with. So I'm like, damn, I want to go there with my guys. But knowing the type of stuff they was getting into, I think I made the right choice. So ended up going to Prosser High School. There we go. And so I want to start off my high school experience by sharing this quote from my all-time favorite player and Chicago native, my GOAT, Dwayne Wade, in my opinion. I didn't live long enough to see Jordan play, but from my generation, I'll say Kobe and Dwayne Wade. But I got a soft spot for D Wade considering he's from Chicago. So my belief is stronger than your doubt. I love that quote. I love that quote. Not because he's my favorite player, because that was the chip on my shoulder I had from the not accepted, not accepted, not accepted, not accepted. That's how I felt. So going into Prosser, knowing that it was a late choice for me, I felt like I had something to prove. I'm coming off C's, not getting into any school I want to go to, and not feeling like I was worthy. I was just going through the motions, you know? And so when I went to high school, completely different experience. I got that kick in the ass I needed to be, okay, now I need to lock in. And then my mom was really on me from the jump. And so when I got into high school, she connected to my high school counselor, Mr. Conley, who's on the bottom right, bottom left, I believe. Mr. Conley, my dude, like we still talk today. Completely different lived experiences, you know, white older male, young black male. You would think, how the hell are they going to connect? He was like my father figure at that school, you know. He pushed me. Him and my mom had a really great relationship. My mom was talking to him, hey, make sure my boy go take AP classes. You know, watch over my boy when I'm not there. Watch over him. She was kind of a helicopter parent, but not too much to an extent. But she just wanted me to do better, essentially. So she pushed me. I ended up taking AP classes. I was terrified. Like, what's AP? I didn't know what that is. You know, is that a disease or something? I don't know. I don't know what AP. I don't know. I don't know what that is. So took AP classes. And it was what I needed. It was the challenge that I needed, you know, and it pushed me. You know, it was times in which I remember I was coming late to basketball practice just to, you know, stay a little bit extra to get some tutoring in. But that was that push that my mother gave to me and that Mr. Conley gave to me. You know, I wanted to have fun. Like, can I take this extra gym class? Can I do this? No, you're going to take AP this. You're going to take AP psychology. Take this. Damn, I want to take gym with the homies and hoop. Nah, you got to get into college. You got to get into a good school. I'm mad at the time, but not knowing that they had a bigger vision for me. And so I listened. You know, I listened to the game plan. I was also part of Chicago Scholars too. So shout out to my Chicago Scholars in here. Similar to One Goal. But, you know, it was a program that was designed to help, you know, folks who look like us to just, you know, give us an easier transition from high school to college. And at that time, Chicago Scholars was giving out a scholarship. So I remember my junior year in high school, that was a big push for me to apply for the Chicago Scholarship. And in addition to the scholarship, you also are part of their plan. So they also help you with resumes, college interviews. And the cool part about that, too, is that you get your acceptance letters in their own site prior to other students applying. So I already knew what college I was getting into early senior year. So I can chill the rest of the way while a lot of people were still scrounging to figure things out. So that played such a huge role into my academics as well. As you can see on the bottom right, I was a high school athlete, played basketball all 4 years. I was number 4. Number 3 was popular. I wanted to pick number 3 because of Dwayne Wade and Allen Iverson, my 2 favorite athletes. But our best player on the team had number 3, and I ain't want no smoke. So I ended up getting number 4, and it fit well. It fit well with my name because I know my friends used to call me TS4 was my nickname throughout high school. So I felt like it was more fitting than TS3. But that was my nickname for a while in high school when I played. And going back, and this is kind of a sad story. Going back, even when we was playing those schools that didn't accept me, like those are some of my best games. Like I took it personally. We played Lane Tech. Oh, I wanted their blood. I wanted their blood when we played them. We played them. I know we played Walter Payton. All those schools I was trying to play hard against because academically I didn't get accepted. But any way I had to face them, it was personal because they didn't accept me to their school. I don't care if we playing chess. I don't care what we playing. I want y'all blood because y'all told me I wasn't good enough. essentially. So that was the mindset I had. Miss Cozy on the left hand side, one of my favorite teachers of all time. She was one of those teachers who was extremely hard, but you understand what she was doing at the end. You know, she used to destroy your paper. She was my language. She was my English art teacher, English language teacher. Write all those essays. She'll destroy your whole essay. Yeah, that's garbage. Put a red X on it. Yeah, it's over with. Rewrite it. Damn. What more you want from me, lady? I'm still trying to do it again and again and again. It was repetition, repetition, repetition. And she expected excellence in that class. And once again, that was that push I needed between her, Mr. Conley, just all the other people I had in my village. Terry, who's on the call today, was a huge asset. Just everybody, as I mentioned in earlier slides, that community. Like I said, I think going back to the whole thing I mentioned about those bigger high schools I want to go to, I think everything happens for a reason, because Prosser allowed me to be a bigger fish in a small pond. And I don't think I wouldn't have been able to achieve enough if I went to a larger school where everybody was that. Whereas here at Prosser, I had so much resources, so much community surrounded around what I can become. And I wouldn't take those experiences for anything. To me, I felt like I was right where I needed to belong, because it's going to allow for a bigger story in some of my later slides. I don't want to get too much into it, but that was my high school experience. So ended up applying for high schools, graduated. I went from, like I said, a low performance student in high school to now graduating top 10 in my high school class. Graduated top 10 with thank you. I appreciate that. I graduated top 10 in high school with a GPA of a 4.3, I believe. So honors, they gave me like some type of medallion. I still got it at the crib. Yeah, I think I still got it at home today. Top 10. What else? Graduated top 10 at the school. Let's see what else. High school. Graduated with that. Oh, and then my ACT score. That's what I was gonna say. ACT score, once again, trash. I had a 16. I took it 3 times. I had a 6. I don't think they do ACT no more. Is it SAT now? We took ACT then. I had a 16, which was low. I took it 3 times. I had a 16. I had a 18, and then I had a 19. Like, I ain't taking this again. I wanted 20 because the slogan at our school was 20 get you money. I wanted 20 bad. I couldn't even crack 19. I'm like, man, I ain't taking this again, because I think at some point you got to pay for it. I'm like, hey, y'all ain't getting my money. So I took it 3 times. You would think with a 19, you ain't going nowhere. You probably going to a neighborhood school, community college, XYXZ. What is it? Ended up going to my dream school. Went to U of I. That was my top school. So that was payback from not getting into my high schools. The high school, I ain't gonna go to the high school I want to go to, but I'm damn sure gonna go into one of the top colleges in the nation. And that's that whole adversity I had in my head still. That's what that played a role in. So the school, University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. I went there. Yep. So I ended up going to. So I went there, ended up getting accepted to the school, one of the happiest days of my life. Just seeing the look on my mother's face from all the work that she put in, with Conley, Mr. Conley, and having me take AP classes and pushing me, it felt worth it, because I felt like a failure before. So I felt like I wasn't doing it just for myself. I was doing it for her. You know, I ain't go to U of I. We went to U of I. That's how I said it. We went. Because my mama didn't have a college education. You know, my father went to community college, so none of my family really had the 4-year experience, especially going away to school. I was the baby in the family, so I went away. The rest of my other brother didn't go to school. And then my other brother, I think he went to the Rye, but all of them stayed local because they was afraid to go out. I'm the youngest. I want to challenge myself. I want to do something different. Let me go away for a little bit. So that was the experience that I took with me. So went to my dream school, U of I. My fascination with U of I came from, this was back in the day. I know some of the older folks in here may know, they 2005 basketball team was one of the best in the nation. They was the hottest thing on the block in 05. Like, they was more popular than the Bulls, everything. They were more popular than the Bulls. They were the hottest team in the state. You know, that's when they had Darren Williams, D Brown, Luther Head. They had Illinois on fire. So I remember watching those Final Four games at a hotel when we went on a vacation with my family. And that's when my first fascination became with U of I. I didn't know it was a college. This is a college? They real good in basketball. Okay, cool. And then once I did more research, I didn't know, this is a research one. Oh, damn, this school known for this. It's top school for this, top school for this. So once I did more research, it just added that fuel for me wanting to apply to the school, and then ended up getting in. So got into that school. On the left-hand side, some more throwback pictures. This is my move-in day photo. You could tell I was a freshman. Look how I was dressed. Decked out, all Illinois. I had that. You're a first year student. We got a lanyard on. Yeah, you are. I outed myself real quick with that one. But I was hyped. You can tell, like I was hyped. I fed into that school spirit, and like I said, I wanted that school spirit from high school, going to a bigger school, but I got it in college. That's where that came from. So I'm going to a large school. Of course, my mother was worried, but I still stayed within the state, 2.5 hours away. So I was still close enough to come home during breaks and all of those different things. So ended up going up. Some of the things that I was involved in was journalism. So I never joined a fraternity or anything, but I was very busy with journalism. That took up a lot of time. During my time at U of I actually had an internship. I know this is probably something Tatiana gonna like a lot. I had an internship my freshman year. So for all my students and all students in here who say you gotta wait until senior year to get an internship, that's cap. That's cap. Junior year, that's cap. You can do it as early as you can. But like I said, that drive, I really want to get the point across to y'all is that drive came from still that 616 score. Still had that mentality. Like, damn, you're not over Lane Tech yet? And hell no. I'm still not over it today. I still got that chip on my shoulder. So I'm still, okay, all right, I'm going to go hard now in college now. And this is a school that I've seen people first semester drop out. Ooh, this party school. Everybody turned up, not going, dropping out of class. Me, I'm seeing long vision. Okay, cool. I'm here. I'm trying to graduate now. I'm tunnel vision because I'm still hungry. I still feel that void of not getting into my other schools. It felt weird. I still had something to prove. It was in my DNA, so ended up doing an internship early. I was undecided my first year. We actually had an undecided major at U of I my first year. And then once I did my internship was working at our newspaper station. And then it coincided with newspaper, but then you also can do stuff on the radio as well. So I learned how to do audio engineering. I did some broadcasting on the side. As you can see, the photo on the bottom was I was on TV. So Big Ten Network, we covered me and Chester. That's my gal on the right. We was part of a journalism. We was part of that internship, and we got covered. And we got broadcasting on TV covering a U of I soccer game. And I was telling all my guys, hey, turn on TV. I'm on TV, man. I'm on TV. Turn it on. Turn it on. I'm acting like I'm on ESPN or something, but it felt like that. Like seeing yourself on TV is weird. It's a pretty dope experience. So journalism was my entire 4 years. I had an internship also with a CBS downtown Chicago's CBS station. So I did a lot for the journalism program. And that was a huge part of my identity at U of I's campus. The top photo, I just want to share that for fun. That was me and my guys who was going out to go turn up. So I just wanted to share that because it was fun. That was a good night that night. I think oftentimes I want to share this because I think oftentimes as staff, as a coach, whether faculty, staff, I think you all as students see us as I don't even want to say completed product because we're still learning. I know for a fact I'm still learning. I'm damn sure not perfect, but you all see us in this light, but it's almost like you forget how we was like before. I was I was going out every other, this U of I, it was damn that party every week. If not every other week, especially my first year, they lit. You got people from other schools coming, SIU, NIU is lit. So it's hard to stay focused. But I still had that tunnel vision, man. I'm get all this stuff done. And I luckily worked at the library. So I was able to get my work done. My work study job was at the library. So I got my homework done at the library. And then after that, we lit. We going out. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I want, just in the books all day and not doing nothing. No, you can turn up, but take care of business. I think people don't realize that's possible. It's a balance. At the end of the day, I know I didn't want to go back to the crib like other people who got kicked out and now you got to pay all this damn money. That wasn't me. And my mom was going to beat my tail if I did that. I ain't want no smoke. So that's what I did. So we still have fun and, did everything that we had to do. And on the right was my graduation picture. I really like that picture. That was probably one of my favorite photos. One of my homegirls in in our journalism class, she was also a photographer on the side. So I had like my personal graduation photo shoot. So that was like my favorite photo. I had to save that. I had to dig deep into my social media to find that because that's a classic. So I ended up getting that. And then some of the other things I was involved with too is I just want to play a quick video for you all. Appreciate y'all patience. I'm gonna give y'all a little bit of audio. I want everything to be just talking. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Daily Illini Sports Update. I'm Torrence Sorrell alongside my colleague Sam Sherman, and yeah, basketball is back, man. Illinois basketball is back as they defeated Quincy 91-62. So, Sam, I guess what are some of the takeaways from the first game you see?
The takeaways, well, the first thing I could say is Malcolm Hill was outstanding for the Illini tonight. He came out, he looked like a guy who could really kind of be that go-to guy. I asked him after the game if he thought he kind of was taking that role, and he was obviously being humble about it and saying, well, you know, that the team really, you know, played a big part in the win tonight. But he looked. I mean, last season he showed some flashes, but it looked like he's kind of put his game together this year.
Right.
The other thing, again, and this was out without Kendrick Nunn, who was sitting with a little bit of an injury, but I think he'll be back. But the other takeaway I had was LaRon Black.
Oh man,
LaRon
Savage.
Black.
Hashtag
Yeah,
Savage.
that's what they call him, and he's been pretty much playing as advertised of what they've sort of said he can do, and what his scouting report, if you want to call it, was. He's in on every rebound. He's in on every tipped ball.
And that's a guy you need too, just to be tenacious. And oftentimes you haven't seen that in an Illini big in a long time. You've seen a lot of more finesse big man. But this is a guy who's like, he's yelling on the court. He really wants to get every rebound.
He's
offense, defense.
And I mean, and in terms of a big guy who's kind of taken some years to develop to get to this point, Nana Egwu was great. You know, he showed again, and with everything, this was an exhibition game, but you can still take some things away. And Egwu looked like more confident. He looked like he's been working on his outside shooting a little bit more, which you know he's shot. What y'all think? Should ESPN hire me?
Maybe if you said something different, then maybe absolutely.
Yeah, I was a rookie back then. I appreciate the critique. Thank you. Tell Stephen A to holla at me. That was such a cringe watching that. I'm not gonna lie. There, you have to go that high. But
It's a cornball.
Oh man. But yeah, so I just want to share some fun with you all to have you laugh. I knew everybody's gonna laugh at that. But I laugh out of myself looking at it now, also kind of in agony. But yeah, so graduated from college, okay, got my degree at U of I, and now adversity number 2, gut punch number 2. Bam. All right. Didn't get a job after graduation. That sucked. That hurt. The worst thing I did was to go on social media during that time, because as I'm going on social media, I felt like my man Squidward on the right. That's how I felt. So I'm looking at the window, I'm looking at statuses and people I had classes with getting their dream job. So-and-so got a job working at this news station. So-and-so got a job at this news station. Like, damn, I remember when I was mentoring this person, everybody around me getting jobs, and I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do in my life. And going back, kind of the same mindset I had when I was fooling around in grammar school, I had that same mindset in college. My biggest thing my senior year in college, which I think this can relate to a lot of you all in here, is that I didn't take networking seriously. I was stubborn as hell. I had an ego. I don't need to talk to nobody, man. I got internships. That's going to give me a job. I got hard work. I don't need to talk to nobody. I didn't realize the importance of connecting with other people. And that's how a lot of my peers was able to get jobs, because they was able to sell themselves better. I didn't know how to sell myself. I was very introverted, but I thought I could just lead by my experience, and that's only half the battle. So I learned the hard way. Didn't have a job lined up at the graduation. That hurt. Like I said, walking across that stage, everybody happy for you. You ain't got nothing to show for. All I'm hearing is family. Oh, you gonna be on TV? You gonna do this? Yeah, I am. I ain't had nothing lined up. That's an embarrassing feeling. As you can see on the bottom left, you can see that all those different word bubbles popped up. Failure, stress. For me, depression. I didn't realize that back then. You know, I'm still 19, 20 at the time, 21 at the time. I didn't realize those mental health implications like I do now. I was going through depression. And I think around that time, too, I had a bad breakup with my ex. So I was really in a hole, you know, mentally. I was shot, but I didn't know how to express my feelings as a black male from the west side of Chicago. I don't know what that looked like. Seeing it from my father, I don't know what that looked like. He's very old school, macho pops. He ain't showing no emotion. you know, so it was hard. I couldn't find that in different ways. My brothers didn't really show emotion. So I was like, damn, who can I find it from? You know, from a male perspective. I worked retail. I worked at Walgreens during my gap year. Worked at Walgreens. And no knock to Walgreens. Shout out to people who got to make their money. But I know for a fact that's not what I wanted to do after graduation. I could have did this without a degree. I just wanted to make some quick cash, pay some bills, but I was stuck. I felt unfulfilled. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So that transitioned to the next slide. And that was, kind of go back. And that was around the time, I'm looking at time. Okay, good on time. And that was around the time too where me and my now wife, girlfriend at the time, that's when we got more serious, because during my gap year was her senior year in college. So she was a year under me. So we started to get a little more serious. And then she was the person who was mentioning grad school. I think you should go to student affairs. You know, I think you should get into student affairs and higher education. I'm like, the hell is that? A lot of people get into student affairs is like, what is student affairs? So end up doing research, and Terry on the call today, and I just want to give him a shout out because he plays such a huge role. My love for student affairs stemmed further from that time. Whenever I was at U of I in college, Terry and the rest of the crew, Travis's brother, they used to always have a alumni day. Most high schools have a day where you could come back and then talk to the students about your college experience. Some of y'all high schools may have that. You may want to do that. You know, talk to them. It's a good resume builder, but also great for your public speaking. So every year I was in college, I would go back and talk to the high school seniors about my experience. And when I did that, it clicked. Instantly, it clicked. And I want to, I want to leave with this slide. Lead with this slide. Journalism. For me, journalism was a way for me to tell stories for other people. But then with student affairs, it allowed for me to have other people tell their own story. That was the difference I had between journalism and education. And once I did that, it clicked. And then that's when my girlfriend was telling me, like, yeah, you a natural in front of students. It's easy. You relatable. You close in age, but you far enough where you got credentials. So you got that soft middle spot. And I'm like, I don't want to go back to school. I don't feel like doing homework. I'm good. You know, I took a year off. I'm chilling. I mean, I wasn't making a lot of money, but I didn't really want to do much. You know, it's hard to transition back to school, you know, especially for my adult population of students who either have parents or just adult students. That transition is extremely difficult because you're comfortable. I got comfortable. And then my girlfriend, fresh out, you know, she done senior year. Now she want to go back to grad school. So she didn't have a gap year like I did, whereas I got comfortable. So she ended up convincing me. We ended up after, in the bottom was, as I told y'all, that's the photo we took at the high school, kind of like a high school reunion, the alumni event where we talked to the students. I did that all 4 years. So I did that, and that was kind of a soft way of me doing student affairs without knowing that was student affairs, because I was never an RA. I didn't have any type of student affairs experience. But that comeback event was student affairs in a nutshell. I'm continuing to talk in front of students. I did some volunteer work on the staff for One Goal, doing something similar. So I was in front of a lot of students, and I kept hearing good feedback, how I connect with them. So I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and take this to the next level. So on the bottom, we end up going to, I don't know if you see the full slide, it was Student Affairs 101, which is a conference that helps grad students get into student affairs. So I ended up applying for schools. I applied to 3 different schools. It was University of Wisconsin-Madison. Shout out Larry, that's where he went. My other coworker, UW-Madison, went there. Got accepted there. I applied for 2 ISUs, so Indiana State University and then Illinois State University. I just wanted a different experience. I've been in Illinois my whole life, going to U of I. So I took the road less traveled. I went to Indiana State. Granted, I said Indiana, blackmail, rural Indiana, blackmail, rural Indiana. That don't click. It's different. That's not Illinois. It's very close, but it's damn sure far apart. So I ended up taking a road less travel. You're probably like, why did you go there? The assistantship I had. Assistantship essentially is like an internship that helps you pay for your tuition. For folks getting into grad school, okay, cool. For folks looking to get into grad school, that's what that essentially was. So the internship I had there was, and I think I can. Assistantship. So it's essentially an internship that helps you pay towards your tuition. So it was required for our program at Indiana State. So my assistantship there, yeah, write that down. Yeah. My assistantship was I worked I was the graduate advisor for the Brotherhood of Successful Scholars, aka Eagle Brotherhood at ISU. Exact same thing. I was the advisor for it. When I did that, it was, oh yeah, I'm gone. This my call. You put me in front of black students, I do this 24/7. I do this. I did that, and that was the picture we took my final day before I graduated. We had our last meeting. That's how many people showed up for. Deep. You know what I'm saying? Those relationships, I still talk to those young men today, seeing some of them graduate. Like, that means too much. That means so much to me, seeing first year students, some of them having their first kids now, graduating, seniors, doing dope stuff. But it allowed me to get out of my comfort zone. Other things on the bottom left, that was another one of my internships. We was required to have 3 internships. So another internship I had was new student orientation. So I learned about orientation as well, just to kind of become more diverse. I played Quidditch as well for my Harry Potter nerds. That's what that picture is on the right. It was just an extra activity that I wanted to do, something for fun that got me out of my comfort zone and allowed me to be around people I normally probably wouldn't have hanged out with. But that was another cool part of my graduate experience. And then probably the most important in the middle, I was a part of a class called Elite 11. In other words, we was the largest graduation class for Black students in that school's history. So I was a part of that, not knowing that. If I would have went to that school and I went somewhere else, I didn't even know I was a part of history. So they end up digging the archives up for that, ended up telling us that in graduation, we all had our own shirts, medallions, but Elite 11 was a big thing at ISU back in 2018. So being a part of that and being a part of it with my girlfriend at the time, like that made it that much icing in the cake, to be a part of something like that, especially in a rural state like Indiana. So we ended up doing that. And that was my grad school experience. Worked at Purdue, so I ended up staying a little bit more. I want to respect time too. Try to like 5 minutes left. Yeah. Okay, cool. Hit through. I got almost done too. Perfect. So ended up working at Purdue University. Went back to the Big Ten now as a employee. This is my first big boy, big girl job after graduation. So making a salary for the first time wasn't much, but it's Indiana, so your money gonna stretch out there. You in Indiana, gas cheap out there. You good, So that's what I end up making in Indiana. So it was a good experience. This was a cool experience I had with one of my students. Obviously, I'm not going to give out his name for confidentiality, but he was struggling. I think he was on SAP. He was on SAP the first semester. He's on SAP, got straight A's the next semester. And I said, if you get straight A's, then we're going to go to the gym and play basketball together. He got straight A's, and that's what we did. That was a cool experience, just being able to do it with him. And just share that experience. He was going through a lot. I think his father had cancer. He had a lot on his plate. He ended up overcoming that, having a phenomenal semester. He was in engineering too. So engineering at Purdue, extremely hard. As an engineering school, he like computer engineering, extremely hard. He ended up, doing that and doing phenomenal things now. And so adversity, definitely want to talk about this before we wrap up. Tough. Mother passed away. That was tough. Putting this together was hard, man. I remember getting that call when I was at work. I met with my supervisor. My dad kept calling my phone, like, Pops don't call me like this. This is out of Pops' realm to call me at work. He kept calling my phone. Damn, all right. Can I step away from a little bit? Told my supervisor, yeah, cool. I just remember his voice on the phone. Like I told you, I got an old school father. He don't show emotion. But that voice I heard on the phone that day with agony, I still can't get that out of my head today. He just told me to come home. That's all I need to do. I'll come home. Nothing else to be said. That call log was the last conversation I had with my mother. That was under 24 hours on the phone. I killed to have those 8 minutes back. 8-minute conversation. My man not knowing what was going on, but I think I probably knew, but my heart didn't allow me to know what was going on. That was probably it. And she kept giving me cues on the phone, like, it's in God's hands. Don't worry about it. I kept saying, I'm going to be home Saturday to come check on y'all. It's in God's hands. Don't worry. She said that like 5 times on the phone. My man not knowing what was going on. I'm like, oh, okay. All right, I'll see you Saturday. Kept saying that. Pops called, that was February 4th, 2020. Pops called February 5th with that call I told y'all about. Shook everything. That right there. That was my man. That was my mindset. That was my wrapping up. I recently got into cut off. Oh, but yeah. But that's pretty much it. I don't want to get too much. So I recently got into real estate. So this is kind of the last thing that I got into. Recently doing a new project. So got into real estate. Just something like I mentioned, redefining myself. Always want to find ways to continue to challenge myself. So ended up getting into real estate. With respect with time, I was gonna show the after photos, but I'll show that in another time because I know we probably got time for questions. Let's see. Hopefully it's working still. Try to get the last slide. I don't know if the button worked. Okay, cool. There we go. So did my first real estate project. Ended up selling it a month ago in September. So purchased the property for $40,000. We put 50 in it. I ended up netting 41,000 out of it, net profit after taxes. So that was my first flip. So I was working on that project for about 8 months since February, and then I just recently sold it September. That was my first property that I sold. Have no formal education in it, but it was something I wanted to do. Teach it was in Chicago. Thank you. It was in Chicago Heights, so South Side, right next to Park Forest. Right next to Park Forest. So this is who I do it for. I had 10 passings in 3 years. My uncle on the top middle, I'm going to his funeral Saturday. 10 funerals in 3 years, not to mention what my wife had to go through, and she had some passes. We combined it's probably almost 15. So we talking about little cousins, grandmother, parents, uncles. These are people who are obviously my wife is on the right-hand side. That's my wife. She's here still, thank God. But that's more so my motivation. But my wife, I'm putting all these people there because it shows like this is everybody I'm doing it for. Because to me, I stand on the shoulder of giants. And these are people who was at the top of my totem pole. So I'm losing all these people in the family tree, top of the tree. So that's why I mentioned so much about having to redefine myself. And so, I'm here to you all today to just say that's my why. So the biggest question I have for you all is, what is yours? Thank you for watching today. Sorry, I have to get it out. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Whew. Okay. I'm going to say it again. I'm not crying. You crying. So thank you, Torrence. I feel like overwhelmed because I'm really in awe of the people that we have here right in-house. Last time we had this, it was Keisha Rembert, who's one of the faculty here. Now we've got one of our staff. We have amazing Black faculty and staff here in this institution. And I hope that you as students find us, reach out to us, talk to us. We want to be here for you. Everything you said, I could see in the chat. I could hear from the responses in this room. People relate to your story, Torrence, because it's honest and it was real. And I thank you for that. And any questions, because I don't want to take too much time. Brickell.
I don't want to.
You good?
But as far as the real estate, was it more of a challenge getting into real estate and understanding it, or was it more of a challenge of being successful?
That's a damn good question. To me, I think it's getting started because it's not a lot of blueprint for folks of color. As someone who's doing real estate on the side now, is, in my opinion, in Chicago is dominated by folks who don't look like us. Especially even being in the market. I'm seeing, not a lot of Black folks, to be honest. It's hard to really find your community there. So to me, it's imposter syndrome. I feel like that whole project was imposter syndrome in a nutshell. That's probably the most I ever felt imposter syndrome compared to anything I've gone through in higher ed, because I'm dealing with money that I never saw before. Like I told you, I didn't say that $40,000 check I made to flex. I did that because I still remember that kid from the west side of Chicago who never seen a bag that big. Never. So for me, I still have that mindset, and I don't call myself successful yet because I'm very humble, but I think now I have the blueprint in order what's needed to create generational wealth for me and my family.
Well, I look at every accomplishment as success.
Right.
I don't think success is the destination journey. But another question I wanted to ask, I remember you saying that it was difficult knowing how to handle your emotions because you didn't have much of like guidance in that aspect. What were your coping mechanisms?
So before we go to that, Brickell was just asking what his coping mechanisms were for the challenges that he's been through, for those of you who are online.
Good. So I'll be 100% honest with you. I'm in therapy, still trying to find that out. As a 31-year-old, I still don't know. Still struggling. 10 deaths in 3 years, I don't know how to process. Because by the time I'm trying to think about this, something else happens. Like it's hard. It's hard. And I'm a coach too, so I'm hearing students talk about their parents. I'm like, damn, okay, I gotta still be a coach. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, shit, I wish I can do that. But I gotta still be there. So it's times I zone out at work, at times. It's tough. I'm still trying to find. I wish I can give you a better answer, but this is raw, authentic. I'm in therapy trying to find that out. I'm still trying to figure out self-care. Not perfect.
You're strong. You have a really strong question. Okay. Yeah.
I got time, so I know some of y'all probably got class, so I apologize.
We got time.
Who else had a question? Scott, wait.
I'll give y'all a note.
As one black man to another black man, what is some advice that seems really simple, but it's just not incorporated or used as much as black men should?
Oh, dang, Scott. Thank you.
Put your ego to the front. Put your ego to the side or what you. Put your ego to the side. I had a big ego. A lot of my story with those college, not listening, not wanting to network, trying to process emotions, all that came from Trump. Didn't know how to process. I thought I knew everything. So when I work with students and they say, oh, do I need this? Okay. So when I work with students and they say, oh, I don't need to ask for help. I've been that guy. That's the thing. I want you all to realize we've been there before. I was that guy. So like, put your ego to the side. It's not even just about schoolwork. Like, you lose relationships over that ego, over that pride. You know what I'm saying? A big part of, not to get deep into relationships, a big part of my situation with my ex was because of ego got in the way of it. So I learned that now. I didn't know how to process my emotions. I'm not saying that that's an excuse, but put your ego to the side and ask for help, man. Whether it's mentally, spiritually, in some way. It takes a village. A lot of what I talked about, it took a village for me to get to where I'm at today. So ask for help when you need to. Whether it's Eagle Brotherhood, people at B Scene, like you got a community of folks here who want to help you, myself included.
We got one more question.
I don't want to be all up on you. But first off, thank you for this, Torrence. I knew you was going to really do well today. I just knew that. So you talked about something that was so similar to what my daughter's going through now. She did not do well in elementary school, but she's in Hyde Park now. She doesn't like to be there, but she has AP classes, and we got her first report card. She has a 4.6 GPA, so she's doing amazing. But my question to you is, at what point did you get past that feeling of not being accepted into the schools that you wanted to get to? Because you talked about it was there when you was in high school and it was still there when you was in college.
Eddie, I'm still not over.
Oh, God.
I think that's also why I'm over it now. I can say that. I'm not that petty. But sometimes I draw from experiences. That's why I go so hard in anything I do. As a coach, y'all got to understand, especially as a coach, I've had coaches, you do a lot of stuff. That came from my story. I don't and not to toot my own horn, I had people ask me before, why you don't stress at work? Registration season, this. Stress is looking at your father and he turned to a size of a raisin. Higher ed ain't stress. I've seen stress. That's not stress here. I've been through stress. Stress is not knowing this the last I love you on the phone to your mother. That's stress. This is not stress. To me, it's not. I'm not knocking anything for anybody else with the experience at work, but I'm wired different because I've seen, to me, the worst of the worst. So to me, I feel like I can overcome anything at work or just in life because of what I've gone through. So I'm challenging everybody in here, man. Like, I don't know if this is the last question, but like, if you beefing with anybody, family, friends, like, hold your people tight because you don't want to be on this side of grief. I don't want the holidays to come. Christmas, yay, holiday, commercials. That's the worst time for me. I'm in a ball. I can't call moms. You know how hard it is? I can't call my mom. Mom and son relationship is special. I don't have that no more. You know what I'm saying? So it hit different for the holidays for me. So like I said, I don't know who y'all beefing with in y'all life in that, because it hit different when they ain't there no more. I'm telling you. And I'm blessed that I left on a good note with both of them. But I can't imagine some people who experience grief and they left off an argument with that person. So if there's anything y'all take away from this conversation, I really hope it's that.
I have a couple questions online. Yeah, you can hold the mic.
I got time, man. I ain't gonna lie. I got time.
I'm interested in real estate.
Okay.
And also I wanted to know what steps to take to get into the field with multiple business endeavors.
Yeah. So I would just say, and it's funny because I'm hearing these questions. I'm not an expert. I just started. This is year one for me. So I don't want people to think I'm a guru. I'm still learning, but I would just say, one, obviously you could give out my email for more information, but I would just say one step at a time. Like for me, for real estate, this is the first entrepreneurial type thing that I got involved in. So, I mean, you way ahead of me. You sound like you got a lot more endeavors and things going on. So I need to ask you questions. But for me, I'm juggling this. I'm also juggling, working in higher ed too, trying to be a good husband. So for me, I think it's just a matter of priorities. Like for me personally, I sold my first property, but then I ended up taking a break. I ended up selling my property back in September. So I took all of October off of my mental health. Like that took a lot out of me mentally, to work on a property. I never worked on something with that much money. So for me, it was just managing my time and realizing what's most important. So I'm mentally prepared to get back to it. But I mean, it sounds like you already ahead of the game. I think it's just prioritizing so you don't burn out.
Thank you. You mentioned you were an introvert. Any tips or tricks you have or can give that help you overcome it? And then they gave an example of like expanding your network. So asking for some tips or tricks.
Oh, y'all coming with the heat. Good question. Not everybody is, want to just, outgoing, want to just speak. Sometimes you can lead in different ways. I think some students, you all probably be learning this in, management 223 in your car classes. Like leadership is more than just speaking. I ended up getting this job at NLU because the director at the time knew somebody, taught one of the students from from college who I was cool with, Jan Robin. She knew somebody I went to college with who I was real close with. So I ended up talking to Jan through LinkedIn. One thing led to another, end up getting the interview, end up getting a job here. I never knew anything about NLU. I actually almost heard that NLU was like, it's hard to hire people outside of NLU. That's when I used to hear. So I was afraid to apply for this job, but then I ended up connecting with Jan on social media. That ended up leading to something else. But I wouldn't have known if I didn't got myself out of my comfort zone. So that didn't require anything for me to go and talk to anybody in person. I just slid in DM, just slid in DM. And that ended up leading to a job opportunity. I'm telling y'all, don't sleep on LinkedIn. That's exactly how I'm standing here today. Do not sleep on LinkedIn.
Thank you. Do you guys have any more questions? No. We are okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you again for what you've done today. And we actually want to present you with this token of appreciation from Be Seen. Appreciate it. And then also this personal card for you. So thank you. We appreciate it. I do. Thank you all for being here, whether in person, on Zoom. Tears, allergies, all the same. We got it. But we thank you all for being here. We want to continue to bring ourselves together. You guys have already heard from us multiple times in terms of what our goals and our purpose is. So for anyone who's joining us on Zoom for the first time, we thank you. If my brother is still out there, who was Torrence's assistant principal or Torrence's counselor, one of the two at his school.
He was a security guard and became assistant principal. So he really went up. Yeah. He was security when I was there.
So thank you for being here, supporting him as well. And we will see you guys later. We'll send it out. In 2 weeks, we'll have our next session. That'll be a My Becoming talk. But of course, we'll be back here in person next Wednesday for our next session talking about leadership. So thank you, Zoom. We appreciate you guys and have a good one.
Thank y'all for being here.